Welcome, everybody, to the 15th of July daily wrap up Clown Planet. If you want to call it Clown Planet, go for it. It's kind of like that, anyways. I just don't have the opening for it. Same idea. Anyway, let's get right to it. I'll try to get it less than 20 minutes like I did yesterday. Still a work in progress. Here's MTG saying that she voted no on the rule for the Genius Act because it does not include a ban on CBDC, central bank digital currency, and because Speaker Johnson did not allow us to submit amendments to the Genius Act. Quote, Americans do not want a government controlled CBDC. Nobody should. Republicans have a duty to ban CBDC. There's been a few states, 4 or 5, that have. President Trump included a ban on CBDC in his January 23rd executive order, and Congress must also include a ban on CBDC in the Genius Act. The problem with that is in the small print, it goes into stable coins. So that's where you're going to get there's a ban on CBDC, but there's something worse coming on. And we've been talking about this on News from the Pew for the last couple months with evidence on there from other people as well. Here's cameras capture marking on President Trump's right hand during a conference. You will see that here in a second. They'll zoom in. I'll go ahead. I'll fast forward. So take that as you want. And apparently, he's got swollen ankles, and I mean that looks like he could have just put some, cover over it, some kind of rub in a sense. Republicans move to block Democrat effort to force release of Epstein files. Now, for full disclosure, because that's what you're seeing on the interwebs, is the 211 to 210 days. Here's MTG talking about that.
Then real quick.
Please.
So it's being reported that House Republicans unanimously voted to block the release of the Epstein files. And I want to straighten out the record right now. That is not true. If I could vote, okay. If I could vote to release the Epstein files, guys, you would have my vote. I would vote yes. Here's what just happened. It was a procedural vote, and we have these all the time. It's called a PQ. It's voting on the previous question. And if the Democrats had won the previous question, which I know sounds insane, it's one of these crazy rules in the House that are hard to understand, that means they would control the House floor. And that means they could bring up anything. They could bring up impeachment articles against President Trump. They could bring up a whole package of insane Democrat agenda items and force votes on the House floor on these things. That's what we voted against. We never allowed Democrats to have control of the House floor because we control the House floor.
Yes.
So it's
a little two-party politics in a sense. But anyways, Ghislaine is back out. The Epstein lawyer reveals truth about client list as House Republicans block files release. Again, if Ghislaine is in the air, if there's no files, there's no report, then what's she doing in jail? Because that's the whole reason why she's even there. So that's going to get interesting. As a couple guys said, Trump has put himself in a corner, and he asked him out with something because either there's none and she goes free, or there's some reason why she's even in jail in the first place, which we're getting into that here in a second. Candace Owens, Trump thinks his base is stupid. And I can't disagree with that, but Candace Owens lights the president up over Epstein's scandal. Yes. And why is that happening? Because Trump calls Epstein List a Democrat psyop, tells MAGA not to waste time and energy. If you don't believe me, you've probably seen it. If you haven't, here's the words from the horse himself.
She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden, we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
So now it's going to be, how would you say, fake news from the fake left. So now there was keep the timeline together. First there was a list. Now there was no list according to last week. No list at all. Nothing. Now there is a list, but it was made up by Obama and Comey and all these guys. So translation is whoever's on that list, especially say it is DJT's on the list. Now he's going to come out and say, well, that's just the Russia people. They're spinning it now. Now that it doesn't exist, now it does exist, and it's now concocted by the fake left. So the fake right's going to blame the fake left for whoever's on the list now. Watch it. It's the only thing that makes sense on that part. Do I have it up? Yep. The next one, California Senate passes bill to let LA buy fire-destroyed lots for low-income housing. Governor Newsom announced the allocation of $101 million in taxpayer funds for multifamily low-income housing development in communities in LA devastated by the Palisades, Eaton, and Hughes wildfires. Now, same thing happened after Helene here in North Carolina. There was homes we were seeing on the news getting bought for $40,000, or properties getting bought for $40,000. You can't get a property anywhere like that, $40,000. But the government was buying it up because it was destroyed. I don't know what they're building here on that yet. I mean, the data centers are popping up over in the east side of Charlotte, north side, all that. So we got to deal with those here. A baseball coach said he fended off ICE agents questioning kids on the Upper West Side. This is in Manhattan, west side of Manhattan. Wilder was leading a group of 11 middle school and high school kids through a batting cage practice near 72nd Street and Riverside Park when he had an unexpected run-in with the U.S. ICE agents, according to the baseball coach. Quote, I go over quickly and the agents are asking the kids inappropriate things like, where are they from? Their country of origin. And I say, whoa. And I tell the officers that their questions are inappropriate, and I'm going to tell their kids not to answer them. Again, this is just one of the renegade. Now we got ICE all over the place, and goes the fake left and the fake right. You got the fake right going, hey, do whatever you want, get rid of everybody. The fake left is going, this is going the other extreme. There is no middle on this. Now ICE is now having more money than most of the entire world's military combined, which goes into the new police. Cried every night. ICE traumatized a kid with leukemia. This is when was this? Trump administration is going after easy targets, including sick children. Now this is by the salon, whatever. As part of let's go in May. A 6-year-old from Honduras who had been suffering from acute lymphoblastic leukemia since the age of 3 was detained by ICE alongside his family immediately after a court hearing on May 29th. Their case was dismissed at a hearing per instructions from Trump, who directed judges to dismiss the cases of immigrants who have been in the country for less than 2 years so that ICE can move to deport them. On July 2nd, the family was released after significant pressure from the public and media coverage of the detention. I get it. I get it. The whole, illegal, you're still illegal. But again, the humanity factor is nowhere to be seen in left or the right. It's all politics. Everything's politics. Politics is the new religion. The IRS is building a vast system to share millions of taxpayer data with ICE. This is from ProPublica. ProPublica has obtained a blueprint for the Trump administration's unprecedented plan to turn over IRS records to Homeland Security in order to speed up the agency's mass deportation efforts. I think it didn't have to be a pay one. Oh, here it is right here. The IRS is building a computer program that would give deportation officers unprecedented access to confidential tax data. Yay! ProPublica has obtained a blueprint system. We already read that part. Last month, in a previously undisclosed dispute, the acting general counsel at the IRS, Andrew DeMello, they call him Mellow Yellow for short, refused to turn over the addresses of 7.3 million taxpayers sought by ICE. In an email obtained by ProPublica, Mellow Yellow said he had identified multiple legal deficiencies in the agency's request. I was going to say, do they have it down here? The blueprint The judge did not address the blueprint, which did not exist at the time of ruling, but the case is pending, which means the new system could still come under legal review. The new system would represent a sea change, allowing law enforcement to request enormous swaths of confidential data in bulk through an automated computerized process. The system, according to the blueprint and interviews with IRS engineers, would work like this. First, DHS would send the IRS a spreadsheet containing names and previous addresses of the people it's targeting. The request would include the data of the final removal order, a relevant criminal statute ICE is using to investigate the individual, and the tax period for which the information is sought. If DHS fails to include any of this information, the system would reject the request. Is there a second? First. Usually they'll say first, there's a second. Again, all this will be in the show notes if you want to look at that underneath afterwards. Here's from Washington Monthly. America is now a police state. The Medicaid cuts are terrible. The ICE expansions are even worse. I cannot argue that. If you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And if you have $75 billion over 4 years in new funding for ICE, you, DJT, Stephen Miller, and Tom Holman will use it to fund a huge domestic army to round up 4 million people in the next 3 years and put them in detention centers and deport them. Don't worry, Obama did more, but still, you don't want a national police force like this. Is Trump's personal Gestapo turning America into a police state? U.S. president's heavy armed shock troops behind raids on illegal migrants will soon outnumber the FBI. See if there's a number here. Some children playing football at summer camp hurriedly rushed indoors as the force marched across their pitch. No arrests. But again, it's ominous. For the dark clouds are there. I mean, eventually they're going to turn on us. Florida airports ordered to report any weather modification activities. This is from Yahoo News and the Orlando Sentinel. Florida airports soon must submit monthly reports on weather modification activities or face the loss of state funding under a controversial new law derided by critics as fueling conspiracy theories. Conspiracy facts. But no, good. Florida is all about doing that. They came out a couple last month, said they were going to hopefully ban geoengineering in disguise. Netanyahu's governing coalition is fracturing. Here's what it means for Israel and Gaza. This is from the AP. Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu's government suffered a serious blow on Tuesday when an ultra-Orthodox party announced it was bolting the coalition. While this doesn't immediately threaten Netanyahu's rule, it could set in motion his government's demise, although that could still be months away. It also could complicate efforts to halt the war in Gaza. United Torah's Judaism, two factions said they were leaving the government because of disagreements over a proposed law that would end broad exemptions for religious students from enlistment in the military. Now, if military service is compulsory for most Jewish Israelis, and the issue of exemptions has long divided the country. Remember, they call it country now. Yesterday they called it a state. Same word. Just, again, remember. You hear the thunder rolling in the background. I already want to cry. Undocumented parents prepare for the unthinkable, giving up their kids. Again, not saying illegals it's right, but again, we got to use humanity in this. They are our brothers in Christ. Transgender bathroom. I know that's probably, how would I say it? Unfortunately, that's probably a really cringe thing to say, I guess, or a tough one to hear, but they are our brothers in Christ. Probably most of them are Catholic. Again, I brought up in my newsletter the story of the San Patricios that went over and saw that they were bombing the Mexicans, and saw the priests and nuns and bells and go, wait a minute, we're bombing our brothers. And they defected from the U.S. military, who were forcing Protestantism on them to the Mexican side. NBC News, transgender bathroom bill added to Texas flood relief special session. None of the 82 bills proposed Monday, the first filing day of the forthcoming session, were actually flood related, according to KXAN TV, NBC's Austin affiliate. Texas lawmakers will convene next week for a special session to consider legislation addressing the deadly floods that devastated parts of the state earlier this month, and a bill regarding which restrooms transgender Texans can use. We're still fighting. We're still in that. And just, yes. In weather, heavy rains and floods, flash flooding sweep across the Northeast. There was video of New York getting pummeled. Here's one of them. This is in one of the subways. Passengers climbed on seats when water was entering the car. Slow-moving storm drenched large swaths of the mid-Atlantic. Here's another video somewhere in New York. That was one funnel going down. Trump's DOJ says EPA will appeal landmark fluoride ruling. The decision to appeal came from the Solicitor General at the DOJ, who reports that Pam Bondi and the White House in February, a federal judge ruled against the EPA, concluding that water fluoridation at current levels poses an unreasonable risk to children's health and ordering the EPA to address the issue. As Jason Bassier says, breaking. After a federal court confirmed fluoride lowers children's IQ, Trump's EPA is appealing the decision and wants to keep it in our drinking water instead of banning it like most of Europe already has. The government knows and wants you dumber. So much for Maha. Because, that came out that was the whole point of RFK. RFK said they was going to do that and a couple other things. And then what we get last week, we're going to get more jabs for kids. And we're not doing anything about chemtrails, fluoride, any of that jazz. It was all a scam. In sports, robot umpires to make all-star game debut, another step towards possible regular season use in 2026. And that'll just take out a lot of the umpires are veterans, military veterans. So there's going to be a lot of guys, if they do that, that will be out of jobs. This was hysterical. This was a dunk that happened during a summer league game, and they call it the posterization of somebody. He comes up, slams one down, and the still shot they get is just fantastic. We'll get it here in a second. Enough to make the commentators at SportsCenter cry themselves up on the camera. It was a solid dunk, by the way. There's the poster. Poor guy. Apparently this guy had a really good game, but he'll always be remembered for that now. Tomatoes are becoming a lot more expensive because the tariffs started today. Trump put a 17% tax on Mexican tomatoes. And obviously the fake right is, you go online, you see the cheerleaders, yay. They put a F-O-F-A, whatever, F-O-F-A, or F-A-F-O, whatever it is. Anyway, a good result to this is grow your own tomatoes. It's not that hard. It's easy. The people I rented from before we got here, they planted cherry tomatoes, and I can't get those to stop growing. My neighbors on both sides of me grow tomatoes. So I stopped growing tomatoes because why am I growing tomatoes if everyone else is growing tomatoes? I grow other things like peppers and watermelon and strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, you name it, peaches. And they concentrate on tomatoes, which he's got like 50 different varieties of tomatoes. So just grow your own tomatoes. They're better for you, and you know what hasn't been sprayed on them. Just saying. An actual Mahan idea. Huge blow to Trump's economy as prices leap for everyday Americans, because everyone's going to say inflation's down. Unless you're not going shopping, prices are up. American feels sting at grocery stores last month. Overall inflation at 2.7% in June compared to a year earlier. The Labor Department said Tuesday. That's 0.3% higher than last month's 2.4% rating. And that's just going to go up because we keep printing more money and giving more money away. China's new secret weapon is a flying ship dubbed the Sea Monster. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Or even a ship? No, it's something much more sinister. Roaring just feet above the sea, a sprawling shadow has emerged from the Boha Sea off the coast of China. This is an experimental resurrection of the Soviet-era Ekranoplan, a hybrid between an aircraft and a ship, which can cruise over water at 340 miles per hour. I don't know how good it's going to do when it hits a wave. Pulling from the pages of the history of the Cold War, China has presented its own nickname, quite predictably, the Boha Sea Monster. There's a photo of the one from Soviet days. Rocket ship. There's one that's okay. Big Brother gets new powers in China with digital ID system. China has long mastered what once become considered impossible, completely controlling the internet within its borders. On Tuesday, Beijing will take another step towards centralization of its power over the internet, introducing a government-run digital ID system that will enable it to even more closely censor and surveil the country's 1 billion internet users. With the new centralized ID system, the Chinese government will take over the process. Users who submit a trove of personal information, including scans of their faces, will receive a unique code to access online accounts. Don't worry, that's coming to our place. And okay, I think that was it. Hey, well, thank you. Have a great rest of the day. See you tomorrow in the daily wrap up. Let me hit the button beforehand. Just where'd it go? Oh, I don't have it. I don't know where it's at. Anyways, I'll forget about it. I was going to put the little click and share and all that stuff. There it is. Click over there, somewhere here, there. Yeah, get the camera right. Like, subscribe, click the bell, all that nonsense. Send a comments, all that. Trying to beat the algorithm of the shadow banning that's going on. And as always, thank you very much and have a great rest of the day.